Well, here we're in front of some young almond orchards next to some more mature walnut orchards here. And the ranch has 4 operating departments. We have walnut and almond orchards. We raise cattle, we raise pigs, and we grow row crops. And row crops could be corn or sunflower, or in the case of the feed for the pigs, wheat and barley. This property was originally granted by the Mexican governor of California in 1841. My family purchased it in 1861. It was inherited generation after generation and over 6 generations, and the only reason we were able to kind of keep the whole property intact is because Abby Parrott, one of my ancestors, incorporated the property. Over those years, we didn't farm it very aggressively, and there was a lot of wilderness left by the time we skip ahead to my father's generation. And he put almost 90% of the ranch under conservation and agricultural easements, which are essentially agreements that we will not develop any farther. And in fact, in large parts of the ranch, we're going to roll back the agriculture and create wildlife habitat. So this area here and lots of areas throughout the ranch are sloughs. You'll see a lot of large trees growing along them, and they also act as incredible hedgerows or kind of wildlife corridors where the wildlife can travel. Any excess nutrition from the fields will get absorbed by the forest and not go into the river or into the air. Yeah, and they're beautiful. We're here in front of the fields where we're growing the beans that'll be harvested in October. We've chosen a few varieties that represent different parts of our history, that grow well in our region, that are beautiful, and that taste great. The beans we grow would be called heirloom varietals, and this just describes varieties that were deselected over time, and so they're considered an older variety because they were popular long ago. And primarily, these older varieties were not chosen for propagation because they did not produce high enough volumes. You can't get one trait without giving up another. You can't accentuate one trait without giving up another. So you would get really high yield, so lower your per acre cost for a set number of beans, but you would lose often and most commonly the flavor of the bean. It's important to us to obviously raise the pigs in as low stress a way as possible. It's the ethical thing to do. We also have to be very careful for how we treat the land, and so through our partnerships with the Nature Conservancy and U.S. Fish and Wildlife, we protect thousands of acres of wildlife habitat, but we also make sure that we farm in a cleanest way as possible. So with pigs, that means having a zero waste system. So all the manure and all the bedding gets composted. We want to farm in the old way, but there's a few things that have gotten better over time. One of that is misters, fans, things that keep them hot when it's cold out, keep them cool when it's hot out. And by them being more comfortable in a farming environment, they're less stressed, which is really at the end of the day, my number one goal is how do I remove as much stress as possible from their life.